Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. First of all, it's quite windy today, so if you hear any noises in the background, it's probably the wind. Anyway, today we're looking at the case of Tammy Lynn Leppert, who was born on February 5th of 1965 and disappeared on July 6th of 1983. She was an American actress, model, and beauty queen who went missing under mysterious circumstances at the age of 18. On the day in question, she was last seen in Cocoa Beach, Florida. A male friend told authorities that he had an argument with her while driving her from her home in Rockledge and had later left her in a parking lot. And although he is the last person to have seen her alive, he is not considered a suspect. However, her mother does claim that her daughter was afraid of him, but there is no further information on this guy. She was known for having appeared on the CoverGirl magazine cover of 1978's October. And she appeared in the movie Scarface as the girl who distracted the lookout car during the bloody chainsaw scene. And before that, among many other minor roles, she played as a party girl in Little Darlings and a participant in a boxing match in Spring Break. Also, she was on the poster. She claimed she had plans to go to Hollywood in 1983 and had a leading role playing herself in a film called CoverGirl Behind the Scenes. So I'm assuming that was supposed to be made. Of course, she wasn't able to show up for that. It says here that after the spring break shoot was finished, Leppert went unaccompanied to a party one weekend. According to her close friend Wink Flanagan, she came back from the party a different person. After performing her role in Scarface, Leppert suddenly returned home after the fourth day of filming. Her mother assumed that Leppert had been afraid of being murdered by someone, and that she had become overtaken by this delusion. Her mother felt obliged to have her examined by a doctor, but after 72 hours in a medical center, Leppert was released, as there seemed to be no signs of drugs or alcohol, according to doctor's statements. On the day she disappeared, she wore a blue denim shirt decorated with flowers, along with a matching skirt, a gray purse, and sandals. Some agencies have stated that Leppert left without shoes or money, and it was also rumored that she was 3 months pregnant, although it doesn't say with whose child. After her disappearance, Cocoa Beach detective Harold Lewis received 2 phone calls from a woman claiming she was still alive. So the woman is somebody else, not Leppert. In the first call, the woman stated that Leppert would make contact when the time was right. During the second call, she said that Leppert was doing what she always wanted, going to school to become a nurse. And from what I can tell here, there are no further calls, and we never really figured out whom the person was that was calling. Now, several serial killers have been more or less accused or suspected of her disappearance, among which Christopher Wilder, who was later determined to have not been involved, and another one was John Crutchley, who was suspected of killing as many as 30 women, and they committed not living in prison in 2002, so they were also not convicted. Leppert's mother theorized that her daughter could have been murdered due to her knowledge of local drug trafficking. She said Leppert exhibited signs of paranoia as she was cautious when consuming food and would not drink from open containers. She had also allegedly filed a report to police, so there's also an option that maybe people were watching her. It says here that her DNA profile has been processed, but her dental records and fingerprints have not been accessed by local police. It is believed that her dental information had been acquired at some point, but that poor record keeping resulted in the data being lost. And then there is a whole list of Jane Does here whom they at one point thought might have been her, but were proven not to be her. So she's not been found, and there is no further information, I believe, after that point. So that is why we're taking a look at this case using the tarot. We're going to start off with the Tarot Mucha, which is already on the table. And for any further questions, moving on to the Hush Tarot, which is this one. As per usual, I'm just going to start shuffling the deck. As soon as I have about a table full of cards, I'm going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we've got the King of Cups in reverse, followed by the Wheel in reverse, and then the Knight of Cups in reverse. The entire top row kind of seems to me like we're fighting. So the King of Cups, I feel, is possibly this friend whom I did not see a name for on the Wikipedia page that I was looking at to get the information for this case. But I feel like this is them being represented by the King of Cups in reverse, and he's very exuberant in this case, but also is in reverse, and that often means emotional manipulation and possibly something that really changed things for them during that car ride. We have here the Knight of Cups in reverse. Now, Knight of Cups, I often say, is somebody who really only focuses on their own emotions, and it's also in reverse, so not for the betterment of other people. Combined with the King, I think both of these cards are representing this person. And I think this represents a situation in which somebody whom has something to do with you, that sounds very vague, but somebody whom has certain interests in you, for instance. Let's start with that. And you know they've got this thing going on, and they've been trying a couple times, but it's been more subtle up until this point. And I think in this situation, we're seeing that there is an outburst. Like, for instance, say, for just as a supposition, that he were interested in her. He wants to date her or something, but she's been holding it off for this time, and now he's pushing the envelope a little bit. He's being a bit more forward. He's possibly also throwing out some ultimatums or something. Something changes that the wheel is also turning, like, okay, there's a change in their behavior, there's a shift there, and he's only really thinking about himself. That's what these three cards seem to be pointing towards. And then we have the Tower in reverse over there, followed by the Six of Cups. And I feel like that is possibly representing Tammy just kind of keeping things quiet. Like, okay, I'm not going to freak out. I'm going to make sure that everything stays calm so that he stays calm. And they're also kind of thinking about the past that they have. Possibly, maybe also kind of like while they're in the car or something, searching through the history that they have with this person to see, like, if this is comparable to anything that they've done before. And of course, you wouldn't like literally go sit there and think, maybe he's done this before, let's go take a look. But like, you'll quickly run through almost like a registry of things that you've experienced with a person before to try and find matches to something that has happened in the past, and how do you deal with that. Possibly also how you deal with other people who have had similar encounters with in the past. So I'm thinking that she is doing that while trying not to make a huge deal out of it. But the next line that we do see here is the Five of Wands. So there is an altercation, possibly not physically, but more like an exchange of fire, because of course the wands are also a fire suit. So maybe there is an argument going on right now, and things are just not maintainable anymore. Like, they're not feeling good about themselves either. I think this is now Tammy being represented, and the general attitude within the car, just there's an argument and they're not having a good time, so they're not feeling very good about things. And this might be the point where she decides that she wants to get out, or possibly he's the one who says, okay, you gotta go now. Any case, I think at this point the stop occurs that they referred to, where they dropped her off. And I went looking for the location. He said somewhere between the 3rd and 2nd North Avenues or something, near a glass place and an Exxon station, but I couldn't find any of that. I went looking for the roads, and I found the 3rd and the 2nd North, but I couldn't find anything to do with Exxon or anything to do with glass. I'm not quite sure if I'm looking at the wrong place. It was Cocoa Beach, I don't know. Anyway, he said he dropped her off somewhere along those lines, because she said she was going to the beach, so it probably was in that area because it was near the beach of sorts. And this is probably where she got out. And then we see here the moon in reverse, which is interesting because I'm thinking that this is her hiding things. Normally the moon would hide things, but this is also a point where she is now, I'm guessing, on the streets, and she doesn't want to cause a scene possibly, so she may be trying to hide that. And we're also seeing Temperance right there at the end, and a Three of Cups also in reverse. All three of these are in reverse. So maybe she isn't able to hide it very well, like I said, because temperance is also in reverse. And temperance, I often see that as people controlling their temper, and it's in reverse along with this moon being reversed. Maybe she is actually showing quite a bit of anger, and there's just a disharmony going on right now. She's feeling very much dissatisfied, I guess, with her friendship with this person, and they're not working together with her at all. So she's very upset in this moment, and it's visible. Now, I don't recall reading anything about people having witnessed her getting out of the car, because I think in this phase, if somebody had been outside or looking out the window, they would have probably seen an upset young lady standing there and possibly arguing with somebody in the car. But I didn't actually see anything about that in the description. But she definitely wasn't hiding it at this point, I feel. So I do feel like this is the point where she would have gotten out of the car had she gotten out of the car. Let's see what happens next. So according to the official narrative, he dropped her off, and then she disappeared. I imagine she went to the beach, but let's see what happens here. We have this is the 9 of Wands in reverse. Okay, so we're definitely burdened by something. And it's like the weary warrior. Maybe she's just kind of tired of this whole situation. Like I said, it's possibly something that's been going on for some time between the two of them, and now she's just kind of tired of it. She's kind of tired of his attitude, of his BS and that sort of thing. So I'm guessing she's also really showing that she is well and truly done with the whole situation. And this might also point towards walking away, because of course we have here the horse that is kind of storming off with the spear. So I'm guessing this is her stalking away from the car. Okay, I have a small stack over here. It's quite a few of them though, so I think I will shuffle them a bit further. Nope, on the floor. Okay, there's that one, but there's also one on the floor. Floor card is the Page of Cups in reverse. Alright, so we are having some surprises here, although not super surprising. We see what looks like a wasp there on a nest that's being built attached to the bird. That's an interesting thing. So there's something that's been stinging her for a while, and I'm thinking that this is not coming as a surprise, but it's a sting that she was expecting, I think. We have here the Two of Cups. Maybe also the car turning around possibly and trying to pick her back up. Or this is a moment of, I knew I shouldn't have agreed with them initially because this is what happens, and this was something that was expected, because the Two of Cups does point towards somebody signing up for the same type of narrative basically as another person, or making a connection with this person. And this thing was not unexpected. Kind of reminds me of how some people try to remain friends with their exes like that, and they're thinking initially that it's the best thing to do, best thing to offer friendship, because it seems like they would get less mad in the moment, and then after a while you find out that actually there's just no way you can remain friends with exes because it always goes wrong somehow. Like that expected sting, I think, is what this Page of Cups is also showing with the wasp there, and that she probably knew that there was going to be a confrontation at some point. They may have had something brewing between them for some time, and it was just a matter of time before it would actually explode. So I'm thinking that that's what she's thinking of at this moment. So she is in an emotional state here, whether she's still in the car or walking around. I do feel like she may have gotten out of the car, so she may be walking around now in a state, just not in the right frame of mind to be enjoying a day at the beach, so to speak. At least not yet. Let's see what else we have here. Nope. 2 cards. Or 3. No, 2. We have the Page of Wands. Alright, so now we're taking some actions that are maybe not well thought out. And we have here the 6 of Pentacles. So there is some charity being given here, potentially. So we see her making some quick decisions, possibly accepting charity from somebody whom may have come out of nowhere. Like this may be a bad decision made in a hurry just because she's like huffing and just being generally upset. So this may be a situation where she was not in the best state of mind, in the best frame of mind, and somebody came up and offered her something, and she's like, okay, sure, let's do that. Like maybe somebody else stopped as they saw her walking there and offered her a ride, and she's like, okay, sure, whatever, let's go. Like that type of thing. Oh, keep pulling these cards back and forth. All right, so maybe somebody else picked her up at this point, or at least she accepted some type of charity that may have not turned out to be the best thing to do. Let's see what we get after this. Like the person on the card over there, I don't know if you're looking at it, but their eyes are pretty dark and dead, so this is not the best person to be accepting charity from, I would think. This is not a great situation that she finds herself in. That one. Oh, and that one. And that one's on the floor. Floor card is the wheel. Alright, so things are changing over there. And this one over here fell first, and this is the High Priestess. Alright, so we're not being very intuitive, and things are definitely changing. So I'm guessing this is the follow-up of what I was just talking about over here, making impulsive decisions, accepting charities from people who we might not have investigated very carefully beforehand before accepting the handouts. And now we're looking at her not being very well aware of her surroundings, of her situation, possibly not thinking too deeply of it, and things are changing because of it with the wheel over here. Whoops. Okay, there's two of them on the floor. We're increasing the numbers. The Five of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles as well. Okay, so we're working against each other here, or people are working against her. And also we are finding ourselves to be kind of lost and without what we expected to have in ways of resources. Possibly this is a mugging of some sort. At least she's losing something. Could also be just in general just being destitute. There's definitely something being done to her. They're working against her that is resulting in a loss of some sort. This could be a robbery. This could even be a kidnapping, although we haven't seen the Six of Swords yet. But it's more like something being taken from you in the ways of a physical thing, time, money, resources. Maybe she had a watch, although she didn't have her money on her, I believe they said. She just had like slippers and a denim outfit. Well, nothing worth noting anyway, so maybe that wasn't it. But in any case, something is being taken here. Oops, that's a lot. Those three, okay. This one came first, and this is the Star in reverse, and we have the Queen of Wands in reverse, and we have the Hierophant in reverse. Alright, so some person, some type of authority figure, or somebody who is claiming to be some type of authority figure over here, may also be represented by this Queen of Wands in reverse. Working against her again, and the Star is in reverse, which I often see as people's light leaving the public eye almost. And the little note that this bird is carrying says, "A hunting we will go." If I turn it over, you'll probably be able to read that right there. And also flying over a skull right there. So I'm thinking that whatever it is that she may have wanted to do, she cannot do in this moment because she's being stopped by something. Some type of authority is stopping her, and a willful person at that. So maybe she's being kept in place, or kept in locked in some type of deal or whatever it is, because somebody is kind of forcing her in that position. And I also kind of see this star as almost like an agency thing, like if you're able to do things for yourself, you're shining bright, but if the star is dimming, that means your input is much lower than it should be or than it used to be. So possibly she is really being tested here. Okay, we're running out of space. Let's go back up here and go back to the Tiramucha. So somebody is possibly testing her, or at least imposing their will on Tammy, which is something that she is definitely not used to, or definitely not on board with, but they're going along with it because they have some type of authority here with the Hierophant. So somebody has an authority over her, and she's just kind of going along with it because their will is currently stronger than hers. Okay, you have like 3 cards here. Again, the 3 of Pentacles in reverse, so we're still working against her. We're also not able to move. And then we have the Hanged Man. Alright, so we're taking a look at this from a different perspective because the Hanged Man does point towards people having to change their view of things. So they're still working against her. But she's also able to see that she is not going to be able to go anywhere anytime soon, and that kind of forces her into this new perspective. So possibly, whereas before she was thinking that she was just going to go to the beach and have some fun and come back later, she had plans probably for the rest of the day or the rest of the week or whatever it was, and now she's like, okay, so that's off the table. I just got to make sure that I am on the ball with this new situation. She's probably trying to survive somehow, at least make sure that the things that happen, that she is not overly affected by them, by making sure that her mindset matches whatever's going on around her, like a survival mechanism. And then we have the 2 of Pentacles in reverse, well, kind of on its side, but this also kind of points towards having to balance your resources, your time, etc., and the new perspective that she needs to take, like make sure to not worry about certain things while focusing on other things, whatever it is that would possibly get her out of that situation. Kind of like watching the person whom could do you harm, and making sure not to react to things that might make them, like put them in a bad mood. And just watching if their situation shifts and if there's anything they can do about that. But if there isn't anything that they can do about that, just kind of like counting their losses and moving on, that type of vibe is what I'm getting from this set of cards right here. Alright, so we have a couple more over there. We have the 6 of Swords. Right here is the 6 of Swords, and we have the 6 of Wands as well. Okay, so not only are we being taken to a different location, possibly the 2nd or 3rd location, we are also not appreciated for our strengths, because normally the 6 of Wands is somebody who's like a hero, riding into town, victorious, that type of thing, or somebody whom most people appreciate because they have some type of talent or are admired some other way. And it's like whatever talent she has is not admired in this location. Kind of like they don't care that she's been in movies and that she's pretty and has won beauty contests. They just disregard anything that she may have to offer in that regard. In any case, they don't really care too much about that. There's this one that immediately hops out. The Queen of Cups. Alright, so we are definitely trying to keep our emotions in tow. So even though they're disregarding anything, possibly very verbally disregarding anything that she may have to offer, like possibly verbally berating her as well, while they're taking her to another location, she's just kind of taking it all in stride with the Queen of Cups and not letting it get to her too much. I think she got really level-headed in this situation, kept everything under control just to make sure that she wouldn't lose it, start panicking, and try to do things that would later be bad for her. Okay, there's a bunch over here. They initially landed in reverse, but let's see what we've got here. We have the Five of Cups. All right, so we are definitely crying with spilled milk, possibly, but also possibly trying to cut our losses. We have again the Nine of Wands, so we are still tired of this fighting, but we have to continue fighting for a while longer. And then we have here, this is Death in reverse, so also not able to close this chapter and leave it behind us. So this is definitely a realization that she is not going to get out of this without any type of changes or sacrifice, but it's also something that she can't force. Like, she's still struggling with this Nine of Wands in reverse, but she's also not able to end it with this Death card in reverse. So she doesn't have a lot of choices, looks as though. So how does this end? Because she didn't come back home, and so far we're just kind of looking at a stalemate. Something must have changed at some point. Alright, that's a lot of cards. Alright, let's see. The Seven of... No, this is the Five of Swords. Possibly fighting it out verbally, and maybe halfway between minds and words physically spoken. These are kind of underside, so these are also kind of doubtful. Let's take a look. This is the Seven of Cups. So wishing for things to be different, but knowing that they can't be different because they are the way they are. We have here the Nine of Cups on its side. Okay, so we're not feeling very good either. Possibly trying to pretend that everything is okay, because if you look at the cup over there, it's got like flowers in it and it's actually a pretty cup and everything, but it is broken. There's a hole right there, so all the water that used to be there has kind of left. So maybe we're dealing with a shell of a person, and we have a snake here that is currently not striking, but they could at any moment. So once again, we're looking at a dangerous person, a dangerous situation that may turn at any moment if she does not keep her cool. We have here the Seven of Pentacles on the side, so this may be half and half. This kind of feels like, okay, this is what has grown from the seeds that I've planted, but also not feeling like it's fair. Which reminds me of the police report that she made. So maybe it's like, it's not fair that I am now dealing with negative consequences because I was trying to do a good thing. Like that type of thing, like seeing things, chickens coming home to roost, but it's not the chickens you were expecting. And then we have the Four, which is the Emperor. I was going to say Four or something, but it's just the Four. The Emperor over here on its side, somebody possibly having dealt her a bad hand, because we're looking at this hand over here as being pierced by something that is upholding what looks to be like some type of official archway of an official building, but things are breaking apart. So it's not like there is a very solid Emperor here. This kind of makes me wonder if anybody who may have seen the reports or is part of law enforcement maybe on the side of whoever the report was made against, and they kind of kept an eye on people making reports against the people that they're actually working for, like that, like a bit of a backstabbing Emperor person here. And they have a couple small people down there at the base of the card, and I feel like those are the people that they should have been protecting, but since everything is falling apart above, I feel like the protection that they would normally offer is falling apart, and they're kind of pulling it down willfully as well. So they're not offering any protection, and they may be the reason why she's in this trouble in the first place. Okay, and then we have the Two of Pentacles again, trying to balance our resources, but also note this Two of Pentacles in particular has a bird sitting on what looks like an old grenade with a pin in its mouth. So it could be a very volatile situation, like one wrong move and we're all going to go up in smoke, because if you know what happens when you pull a pin out of one of these things, as long as you've got your hand on this little thing over here, everything is going to be fine if you can get the pin back in. Birds of course can't do that. So I think that it is definitely a very hair trigger situation. Anything said wrong could definitely cause great catastrophe, which I'm thinking she was definitely staring down. possibly with somebody else there who was in a similar situation, but that's just doubtful. I just see a second bird here also kind of sitting there, possibly going through the same thing, but I don't see anything about that. Okay. Page of Pentacles on its side, almost like they're trying to either clear their eyes or plug their ears or something, but they might not be trying to see reality for what it is. She may have made a wrong move or a doubtful move with her resources and her time. So the situation over here with the two birds hoping that the grenade's not going to go off may ultimately not have worked out. Well, we know it didn't work out because she didn't come back. But anyway, let's see what's next. Justice in reverse, and this is the Six of Wands. Okay, Six of Wands. Again, we had that earlier, so we're losing face here. And justice is in reverse, so justice is definitely not served. So I feel like the hair trigger over here was actually triggered, and they did some very bad things to her, and because they were no longer looking at her in any sort of positive light. So whatever it is that she may have accidentally done or triggered them instead, and that ended probably very badly for her because justice is in reverse. I'm assuming, at least that's what it feels like, that whatever happened to her in this moment. By which I mean whatever happened to her that made it so that she couldn't come back. But are we ever going to find anything of her? Let's ask about that. Are we ever going to find anything of Tammy's? Because I saw a long list of people whom people suspected were her remains, but there were other people. Are we ever going to find the actual Tammy? That one. Nine of Swords. Okay, so we're really worried. We're very anxious. There's a lot of anxiety around this case still, even though it's been about 48 years now, I think. It's been a long time. Well, there's still a lot of anxiety here. There's maybe the anxiety of people who still remember her, of course, from back then. Family who may still survive. Or somebody who knows more about this case is anxious, so there may be that. Not much coming from the deck right now. That's interesting. Okay, so we start off with this Nine of Swords, which I'm thinking might be, well, like I said, possibly people who knew her back in the day, or it could be people who knew her in other ways, like the perpetrators themselves, because we haven't seen too much of them other than how they affected Tammy's mood. Let's go back to the Hush Tarot to see if we can get anything from them. This one, this is the Ten of Cups. All right. Interesting, because that's, first of all, we have anxiety here, but then we have the Ten of Cups, which is normally like feeling really good, like the arch rainbow, basically with the cups overhead and everybody being super cheerful. And maybe there's some type of resolution in the cards for that matter. Let's see if we can find out anything more about that. Like maybe after a long time of anxiety, which of course is represented by the Nine of Swords, long-term anxiety, we suddenly have some type of relief here. And then the Five of Wands is some type of struggle going on. So maybe they have to fight certain people over possibly some information. And down there we have what looks like two snakes, possibly trying to bite a fruit together, maybe trying to split it or trying to take it from each other. Maybe there are just people struggling with the new information or trying to get their hands on some goods here. And then we have the Page of Wands in reverse. Okay, so we're mishandling a case, I think. Maybe there is a breakthrough coming here after a long period of anxiety, and then after this breakthrough there's this a moment of wow, we've got something, and then we see things being mishandled here, because first of all we have here the Five of Wands, people fighting over things. Now we have the Page of Wands, Page of Swords, sorry, Page of Swords in reverse, possibly saying the wrong things, possibly people misrepresenting the case, lying to each other maybe. Yeah, okay, that one. And then the Three of Swords in reverse. Three is a crowd, maybe too many people, too many ships, too many captains on one ship, trying to be the first, I guess, to announce something, possibly like they're mishandling a case, it seems as though, with these cards. Also, there's probably a sting involved with releasing who it is that cost her, I imagine, her life. Because I'm looking at this card here, and you see the person in the background, they have two coins in their eyes, which is something that they have done in many different cultures. For the people who have recently died, they will put coins on their eyes to pay the ferryman who will take them across the river Styx, that type of thing. And there is what looks to be a bee or something in her mouth, so there may be a sting there, almost like if they were able to speak, they would definitely tell a very nasty story for the people who did this to her. And she still looks very vibrant, so even though this does look to be a deceased person with hair that appears to be wet, so maybe they were in the water, I don't know, kind of looks it that way. Well, at the same time, I'm noticing another nest of wasps there in the corner, so it could be that if they do find her, there are a lot of stings to be had, stings to be released by stirring this case. So maybe people aren't quite sure if they want to release any information because, or they're lying about this whole thing because there are certain people involved, and that might really throw a wrench in the works. Okay, more floor cards. And we have here a Knight of Pentacles in reverse and the World. Yes, somebody is working very hard to keep things hidden. So I think that somebody is trying to make sure we don't find out, because there's a lot of stings there. Literally the note there says hush by the bird. And so they are trying to keep things from being released. Also noticing that the hands there at the bottom of this card are in almost like a prayer type of formation. So possibly people trying to pray for things to stay hidden. And they are holding a key, so they're praying for the key to not be released, I think. And they're also working very hard on that, this Knight of Pentacles. And we saw earlier that we had this Emperor over here who was possibly playing two sides against each other. So maybe that also points towards there just being a lack of justice because people are keeping it hidden and they don't want things to be revealed. But are we ever going to see anything though? Alright, final card we have here, Page of Cups in reverse. And that usually, well, it's kind of inside and reverse, I don't know. But it is pointing towards some type of emotional surprise, which could go either way. It could be that we have an emotional surprise and everybody's going to be equally surprised. And one side of the argument is going to be very happily surprised that they finally found something, and the other side, of course, was trying to hide things, so they're going to be very negatively surprised. I think that might be what it's pointing at, actually, that we are going to see some surprise at some point, and some people are going to be happy about it, and other people are going to wish that it never happened. So that is what I'm seeing for Tammy Lynn Leppert. I hope you found that interesting. In any case, make sure to leave a like and a comment. That really helps the channel along. If you want to subscribe, that's even better. I hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.